Welcome to the Sanctum, everyone. This is AL. So you're seeing two decks right now. Gods and Titans, Goddesses and Sirens by Stacey Demarco and illustrated by Jimmy Manton. And you're probably wondering, why are we seeing two decks at one time? Well, because they are actually brother and sister decks. And so I wanted to show them both, showcase them both at the same time and go over them. Now, normally I would still show them one at a time, and I probably will showcase them individually and then showcase them together as I do a reading tonight. Because I'm going to be honest with you, these cards will always be used together going forward after this moment. I have literally kept them separated only because I had to do this review first. I have wanted these two decks for probably close to 2 years, 3 years. 2 years? About 2 years. These decks have 40 cards each. I actually have the book Stacey wrote based on these decks. And the reason why I wanted these decks is because they are not your traditional regular gods and goddesses. She does do the Celts and the Greeks, but she also goes and delves into others, and I wanted to showcase that. And to me, it's important. By the way, this is actually really cool because on the inner part of this, you know how usually there's it's paper. She actually has a paper but well done inset, so you don't feel like you need to just toss it out because it stays. It doesn't fall out like all the other ones. So I am so thrilled with that. It's crazy. The books are awesome. They are decent thickness and size. And what's really cool about it is that, yes, even though they're black and white pictures, there are also other pictures in here. So when you read about the person, they talk about like Maui, the discovery. Feel eager again for discovery and adventure. Curiosity may help you break barriers and solve problems. It gives the history of the deity or the titan or the siren in question, and then it gives you a shadow side or a symbol, things to think about. So yes, there are reverses, which they call shadow sides, and then there's invocations to some of them. So the invocations are really interesting. And what I found interesting about this is that they, even though they're brother and sister deck, they have different backs, which I thought was cool too, because I love the Celtic style back here with the Celtic knot and the design across the back. And then for the guys, which are a little bit more plain with the border, and then for almost like a labyrinth style knot. So these cards are amazingly beautiful. So Jimmy Manton deserves a huge amount of credit for this. So there's a cat, and Achilles, Apuk, Fear, Anubis, a sack of bones, god dog, Apollo. Yeah, we got words. I have words for that man. Ares, god of war, pain in the ass. Bayami, Sirens, Dionysus, also known as Bacchus if you're looking at the Roman side. Eros, Ganesha, Garuda, the Green Man, Hern the Hunter, Hades. Is my hair on fire? Sorry. Channeling Disney. Helios. Yes, they are separate. Helios and Apollo. Hermes, Hypnos, the Jade Emperor, which I love that look. That is just so awesome. Jizo, Loki, Lu, the god of light and the Celtic deities, Maui. Most people don't realize that Maui is named after a person, Mithras, whose day, whose religious day is December 25th. That's right, December 25th is Mithras Day. For those of you who don't know, Nuada, Odin, pain in the ass. Osiris, Poseidon. There's more. There's Ra, Set, Shiva the Destroyer. Okay, I gotta show you the one for Thor. Since I showed you Loki, I will show you Thor. Thor. Yeah, that's it. Thor in a loincloth. Awesome. So, Thoth, Typhon, Ul, Vishnu, Vulcan, and Zeus, of course. So, let's take a look at the girls. My girly girls. There's Ishel and Vesta for homes. Yamaya. She's so beautiful. I love her. And there's Hera, pain in the butt. For good reason. Helena Troy. Pomona of the apple. That's what actually Pomona means, is apple. Kali. Kalima. Rhiannon. And Jeanne d'Arc. Or as most of us call it, Joan d'Arc. Lilith. Isis. Hecate, one of my favorite deities. Pele, also one of my favorite deities I don't mess with. Andromachy. Lakshmi. The Valkyries. Go Valkyrie! Sheila Negig. She's kick-ass, by the way. Baba Yaga. Boudica. Athena. Bast. White Buffalo Woman. Brigid. Persephone. Hathor. Oya. Amasratu. Freya. The Muses. Katesh. Nut. Mother of the Night. Ma'at. Balance. Morgan Le Fay. Pain in my ass. Aphrodite. Also pain in my ass. Gaia. There are stories behind the ones that I say pain in the ass. Just roll with it. Kuan Yin. The Sirens. Sekhmet. I actually like her. She's one of my favorite. Eoster, which Easter is named for. And Artemis. super pain in my ass. So, let's talk about the gods and goddesses in this book for these. Now, these are oracle cards. So, the nice thing about it with these books is it talks a lot about how to use the cards. It talks about the fact that she suggests that you dedicate and bless the cards. Take them outside if you can. Throw some salt on the pack. Sea salt is best. Say I cleanse, renew, and protect. Then light a golden candle if it's the god cards. A silver candle if it's the goddess cards. And then ask about the divine powers to bless them as well. She says, like, often the best place for this deck is for, like, on an altar, special place. And the idea is the fact that to use it as an idea to bless yours, to basically let their divine energy come in. And she talks about the spreads. There's a pantheon technique that you spread the whole deck on the table or floor or on the earth and allow your gaze to soften and see what gods jump out at you. Which one seem to be coming out at you card wise. Those are the ones that you may need to integrate their themes into your life more. One card picking, of course. Then they have twins when you want to get to the crux of the matter, picking out two cards. One is the card is the obstacle in the way of your goal, and two is the best card action to take. The 3-card draw for the guys, it is the full sun 3-card draw. For the girls, it would be the full moon 3-card draw. So the first card is like the heart of the issue, the challenge you face, and the solution. And then she talks about the mountain spread for the guys, and then the 7-card spread, which makes the male symbol. There's also a 7-card spread for the girls, which makes the feminine symbol. And then there's an Odin spread for the guys. Now for the girls, they have, again, like I said, they have the priestess journey. They have a flower spread, the triple goddess card draw, and then their 7-card spread. The priestess journey is a 10-card spread, which is really interesting. So I got the God and Titans last night, and I had the Goddess and Sirens for a couple days, about a day or two. And the reason why I wanted to show these cards to you, I'll move these a little bit closer so you can see a little bit better, is that a lot of times we talk about ourselves in manners of strong as an ox, or a strength like Hercules, or we talk about ourselves as being as sacrificing as Jesus or whatever, in different manners of that nature. So one of the things for me to have these two decks is to divine not only the male side of things, but also the female side of things. And also because when it comes to like soulmate issues, when it comes to divining our own issues, it's also this combined deck of 80 cards, or even singularly, it comes to be a really important way to see ourselves reflected upon in these decks. Mythologically speaking, it is important to see us as we are. When it comes to who we are as a people, regardless of our beliefs, where we're from, it is also important to know that who we are and where we are also resonates among others. So to me, it's an aspect of being able to, I'll pull this back a little bit here so I can mix this 80 card deck up, of being able to take the thought of being able to take the energy of the gods and goddesses and make it into our own. are we going to be, we are considered divinely inspired in many ways, even depending, even on your belief systems. There are times that we channel the divine in us. We get information that we don't always understand, but we speak a truth to somebody and it changes lives. It happens to all of us. Doesn't matter who we are or what we do. I am not the only person that it doesn't. I know that other people are not either. Although we get told we are. It's not always the case. We are not alone in that ability. So what I always tell people is this. Everybody has patron deities. Deities that like to show up at your birth. Whether you believe or not, they are always there. They come into your life and bless you when you have arrived on this universe. They have given you special talents that you choose to manifest and live up to or choose not to, because free will is still a thing. Those of us who are more hyper aware of our deities sometimes serve them, and then sometimes we'll grow and go on to serving other deities. It's just what is. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. And the reason why there's nothing wrong with that is everybody grows up and grows out. I mean, we don't always go and obey our parents every single moment of our life. We all test boundaries. We all move forward and move on. Who we serve at one time is not who we always serve at all times. That's normal. It's what is. So, what I tell people is this. Sometimes, it's good to question. It's always very good to question. Question your beliefs. Are you believing because it's just what's taught to you? Are you believing because this is what you have been told? And you roll with it. My family will tell you, I question everything. I believe in what I have managed to prove is true to me. And truth can be proven in multiple ways. I've also run from my fate for many times over the years. And I've come back to my fate many times through the years. Currently, I'm basically not running from my fate. I realized a few years back, running from my fate was basically hurting me. And it was. I'm not gonna lie. It was causing me more pain than anything else. So I made peace with that part of me. That was having the issue. And a lot of it is because when you have family that sits there and likes to, that you've never really known, who prophesies and has predicted your coming and your standing upon your family and some of the things that you'll do, and it comes true, you have a tendency to run. And I have. I did run. And so I ran in the total opposite direction than anybody could have ever expected, except if anybody knew me well. It would have been like, really? Seriously? This is what you did? Instead of just sit there and say, I'm going to be what I am and screw the prophecy. I will just take it what I want and fuck it all. And yeah. So for a few years, I denied myself who I was, what I was, and I ended up worse off than I had thought. It took a long time to come back to me. And then I started pulling away from stuff, and it took a shock to my system to come back to me again recently, because I realized I wasn't doing the best that I could by serving those who deserve to be served. And that was the part that really kind of got to me. So yeah, so here I am doing videos, teaching, learning, and more. And I'm better now. I feel better. I'm showing my truth to who and what I am, and I'm okay with that. Yes, it does mean that I'm being a little bit more of what they said I'd be, but I've made my peace with that portion. It took a while. Or as my family would tell you, I had to grow up. I will never grow up. I'm Peter Pan forever. No, actually, I may never have to grow old. I just had to grow up and realize that prophecies only define what parts of your life are going to touch, what parts of events are coming. What you do and how you deal with it is still your own decision. And I really didn't understand that until I understood the concept of what time really is. Once I did that, I realized that, yeah, it's all good. And I've moved forward. So that's cool. So let's talk about what we're going to see. We're actually going to talk about your stake, your guide. Whom do you need to know? What do you need to channel over the next couple of weeks, months? Whom do you need to work with? What energies do you need to work with? Now, you're probably wondering, well, I just need to work with me. I mean, that's pretty much it. So, you probably are correct. Could be nothing. Could be everything. So, what we're going to do is simple. God, I love my little silver stones here. My little puppies. Puppies! So let's talk. You're going to have a choice between 6. And I never do this for a review, so you know this is going to be big digs. Aventurine. This is actually, I love this, gold quartz. Lapis Lazuli. Dalmatian Jasper. Red Goldstone. And rose quartz. So, believe it or not, I'm actually just going to go in order, so you're just going to have to deal with it. I want you to pick one, and this is going to be the goddess or gods that you need to work on. So, and here's the kicker. You can pick more than one, whatever calls out to you. Okay? So, there's an even amount of each, and there's a reason for that. 1, it's what they told me to do. 2, we're going to work with it. So we're going to start with the green Aventurine first. Green Aventurine, it is beautiful. And so we're going to look at Thoth, one of my favorite people. So Thoth is all about wisdom. So when you talk about Thoth and wisdom, and in regards to ancient Egypt, which is actually one of my specialties, Thoth deals a lot with the written words in the sense of trusting what you know, discern and simplify the opinions and information being directed at you. So he is the bird in question that is defined as the ibis. they are everywhere in Egypt, and on the Nile, and it is considered the wisest bird in that area. He is the one who told Isis what spell to use to resurrect her husband. He is the one who is the inventor of the alphabet. He is the patron of scribes and writers and anyone who works with words, public speakers. He is the author of magic and invocations, books on those departments and subjects. The cult of Thoth deals with his messages on regulation and on balance. He is actually married to Ma'at. So that gives you any idea of the balance that he believes in. So one of the things is that he is all about is speaking your truth, speaking your wisdom. And it's Thoth, and the invocation that they have is really interesting. It says, Thoth, who assisted Isis, husband of white-feathered Ma'at, you who hold the knowledge of all books, of all numbers, of all thought. Allow me to understand in completeness what I need to know. Allow me to decide, to connect, to immerse myself in my own wisdom. Speak now what I should do. Thoth, eternally wise, I am eternally grateful. So, it's interesting when you consider the fact that Thoth is going to be your aspect to consider on. What are you not wise on? What are you always unbalanced about? He is going to be the one that you are going to look to going forward. So that is going to be your person of choice at this point. He's going to be your thought point, your god of not necessarily devotion, but your god of balance, the one to look to for when you're not sure about things, when you need to have that deeper wisdom than what you think you have. So it's interesting. So we're going to go to the golden quartz. Golden quartz, golden quartz, how I love the golden quartz. And we're going to talk to Ishel release. So Ishel is a unique being. I can say that because she is. Ishel is the jaguar goddess of the ancient Mayan culture. For her, it's all about the time to release an old belief or a bad habit. Imbalances of all kinds will fall away. Your pain will ease soon, which is why she's about release. Her myth once focused upon the practice of the sweat bath, the place where the elderly went to relieve their age and pain, and Mayan mothers went before and after birth to ease the delivery. So she is widely honored as the goddess of midwifery, fertility, earth, rain, sacred sweat baths. Her cult actually extended as far across as the islands off the east coast of the Yucatan Peninsula, all through the Yucatan and more throughout the Mayan culture. She also holds the water jar of the calendar. When she empties it, it symbolizes the flood rains to renew the earth at the end of the year. She was invoked prior, during, and after birth to ensure fruitful and safe labor. And many drawings and stories exist of her in archaeological records. She's actually one of the prominent goddesses that still live in archaeological records of the Mayan times that we still have in those books. So when you are ready to let go of something, whether it be excess weight, a bad habit, disease, old patterns, she is the one to call upon. She helps you let go what no longer serves you. She makes sure you don't hold on to grudges, resentments, anything that's negative and heavy in your life that is not helping you. So when you need to purge yourself, you can create a a jar of Excel to help you. And the jar can be anything. You just need a jar with a lid, a small jet or obsidian crystal, a paper and pen, or and just write on paper or on small stones which you want to release. Place it into the jar, and you can go outside and say, Ishel, I call your name, woman of the jaguar, dark as night, I need your help in my own release. And you hold the paper with the stone of what you wish to release. Think about the troubling thing of what it causes you. Think about how hard it is to release it. I mean, really, really think. I mean, you need to put all the emotional energy of the difficulty. I mean, every single action and inaction, every part of failure into that piece of paper, that rock. And then put the paper or the rock in the jar and say, I place this in the jar of Excel to release. Away, away. And you put every item that you're wanting to release in there. And then thank her when you are done. Put the lid on the jar and leave it outside somewhere inconspicuous. And then you could just follow those 3 steps again anytime you want to. And when the jar is full, or feels full, add water to it and then bury it somewhere. Bury it out of sight and let Excel do her work. Excel is a goddess that I have had the pleasure of meeting her once when I was at when I was in Mexico, and I was at Chichen Itza. And when you are there, it is amazing the things you get to see, and the carved walls and the drawings and the statues, and it is amazing. So trust me when I say to you that for you who've picked this particular goddess, give to her your burden. She is mightily powerful. She will change things that you never thought you could change. She is instrumental in my getting on my path again. When I tell you about the fact that I was off my path, when I tell you that I was when I basically went all the way backwards, she is the one. She and the Jaguar priests are the reason why I got back on track. My trip to Mexico totally and utterly changed my life. So yeah, she's amazing. So definitely don't think that she's not a powerful force. She's actually fantastic. So definitely for those of you who've picked her, you have take that seriously, work with her. So we're going to go to the next one. Lapis Lazuli. I love this. It's so pretty. And we're going to see the god you're choosing. Aries, god of war. So I know you're thinking, I always war with everybody. I argue and fight. Yeah, but it says learn the rules of engagement. It's all about there may be a battle ahead. He's the one who represents pure, unadulterated, bloodlust, and force. Because the battlefield is a horrific place. Battle is not fun. But remember, too, that Aries is also the one who doesn't support all men in war. He supports whoever showed the kind of battle style he favors, a ferocious fighting over all else. He is also regarding the fact that even though he has warlike urges and he sometimes fights for things, we can use that idea of battling for victory over our problems. Because remember, battles can be anything. A battle over weight, a battle over fear, a battle over our insecurities. those are battles that real warlike battles that we can use the power of Aries to help overcome. So you can light a white candle and burn some bay leaves and ask Aries, I am at war. There may be a battle. There may be a threat of war. I wish to be protected and I wish to honor myself and the kin I fight with. I ask for Athena Bright-Eyed to reveal the wisest strategy, the most victorious course, to lay your shield around me and let me see to do with the blink of an eye. And if and only if I need to fight, if I need to take lethal action, I invoke the Aries to force my way. So it's the idea of, look, there may be an actual fight. I mean, this may be the fight and focus of a lifetime. It may be more than just wisdom to guide myself to peace. I may actually have to literally fight my own desires, my own inaction in such a way to battle myself. Please give me strength, Aries, to be able to do this fight, because this is maybe a fight like no other I've ever had. So Aries is a strong god, and when it comes to fighting, when it comes to battle, and some of us may live in areas where it's like living in a battle zone, and you want to be able to live peacefully, and it's not always the ability to do so. And so you're wanting to be able to find a way to overcome. So that's available to call upon Aries to do so, to do that. So that's why that's there for you. So we're going to go to the next one, which is the Jasper. All right. Ma'at, justice. I love the fact that she's right below her husband, Thoth. So Ma'at is all about justice and balance. Ma'at is actually one of my favorite Egyptian goddesses. When I first was studying ancient Egypt, and I am quite proficient in ancient Egypt as I am in Celts and in Greek mythology, Ma'at, besides Isis, is one of my favorite people in this world. She is unlike anyone else you will ever find. She is the justice. She is the balance. She is the final judgment on a soul after death. The Ma'at feather that you see on the Book of the Dead. When they talk about the Book of the Dead, and they talk about balancing your feather on a scale, that is Ma'at. And if you do not, if your soul does not manage to be as light as that Ma'at feather, then you are fed to Amut, the soul eater. So Ma'at is huge. When the country was in turmoil, when Egypt was in turmoil due to several factors, they would say that the world had no Ma'at in it. There was no balance in it. There was no order, that they needed to bring it back. And a lot of people would claim that during the time when during different time periods, Akhenaten reigned during the 18th dynasty, during the Queen Hatshepsut, who became ruler. They claimed that even though she was like one of the most successful rulers ever, but the men were all upset because, well, she did well, and they didn't like that. So Ma'at's power determined the movements of the tides, the seasons, the rotations and pathways of the planets and stars. She made the final judgment on the soul upon death, and she was respected by the living. Ancient Egyptians worshipped her as a goddess, certainly, but also as a principle and process enacted in their lives. You just didn't worship Ma'at, you lived Ma'at. It is said after death, the body journeyed under the care of Anubis, or underworld protectors, and was presented to Ma'at in the underworld. The soul was housed in the heart, and Ma'at weighed the deceased heart on a set of golden scales. Her white ostrich feather was the counterbalance. If the soul was light-hearted and thus represented all the Creator's laws, it was admitted to the afterlife to enjoy eternal life and eventual reincarnation. If the soul weighed more than the Ma'at feather, it was eaten by the land goddess Ammit. She wasn't really a lion goddess. No. She was a mix. She was not pretty. No, not at all. The pharaoh actually used to wear symbols of Ma'at to indicate his role maker and justice giver in alignment with the goddess. The symbol of justice is a beautiful woman carrying a set of scales, reflects the original imagery of Ma'at. So the idea here is to bring order and justice in your life. She is a great listener. She brings an energy of great clarity. If you are dealing with rules that are being broken and punishments carried out, or rules that are unbalanced being made, you need to pay special homage to Ma'at. If you're involved in anything legal, offer her a prayer. If you're simply dealing with an authority figures, with peers or family, Ma'at can ensure your treatment is fair. Her symbols are like the ostrich feather, the ankh, scales, an ostrich feather of truth on a red headband. There is a lovely invocation for her that if there's too many things going on where you're not sure in a situation, but you want to make sure that basically all parties concerned are getting the best treatment, best judgment, you can take a feather, preferably a white one, a set of scales, 2 rocks of the same size, a fireproof bowl, and a white candle, and write down your issue. Light the candle and say, Ma'at, goddess of order, queen of justice, fair wearer of souls, I ask for your assistance in resolving a legal issue. Hold the feather over your heart and say, you who will grant justice, if it be for the highest good of all, grant me success and resolution around this issue. Tell Ma'at about the issue and where and how you want justice. Now place the feather on one side of the scale or one of the rocks. I believe my heart is light, and I ask that I recognize my part in this. Tell Ma'at about your part in the affair, no matter how small. Now take the paper and hold it over the candle, burning it, and place it in the bowl safely. Say, I leave this judgment in your hands, great Ma'at, knowing that your justice is swift. And relax in the knowledge that the natural order will be returned. Take the feather outside and release it to the wind, where Ma'at will receive it and blow out the candle. So, I've worked with Ma'at on and off for a good portion of my life. I have always found that while working with her power, that things that have seemed to be quite unbalanced and off will always rewrite itself and become balanced and more achievable. So that may be something that you may want to consider when it comes to working with her. It may be something that may be necessary. Not necessarily for a bad or for good, but that it may be more beneficial. So give her a try, give her a chance. And if you manage to pick both her and Thoth, then you are working in harmony with a husband and wife team who bring both balance and justice along with wisdom to what you are seeking for. So we're going to go to the next one, which is the red goldstone. I love it. It's so little and pretty. And we're going to go to the next god, Osiris. Osiris, Osiris, what will you do? What will you do? So Osiris is the god of renewal. He is the husband of Isis. He is also considered the god of resurrection. And here we see him pictured with his wife. So let's talk. Let's talk about Osiris. So Osiris and Isis's love is actually central to Egyptian mythology. Osiris is always about he used to be the god of fertility, growth and abundance, and then when he was killed and then brought back to life by Isis, became god of the underworld. As the deity of resurrection, he gave hope to all there was about an afterlife and that death could be transcended. he did not judge the dead. He didn't just judge it. He was also responsible for their afterlife and reincarnation. So the energy of rebirth and renewal is tied more to Osiris than to any of the other lords of the underworld in Egyptian mythology. Ancient Egyptians actually created the complex magical processes, rituals, rites, with Osiris as the central figure to ensure a successful resurrection after death. The Book of the Dead is based upon Osiris's mythology. So when they talk about going through the Duat, when they talk about facing the trials and tribulations of the marsh, and they talk about they talk about Set, and they talk about the serpent, they're all talking about things that Osiris has faced and is part of that. So like when they talk about the Ka and the Ba, which are parts of your soul. So just so you know, I'm way too knowledgeable about this crap, and one day if you ask, I'll go into more about Egyptian belief systems, if you want to, and the parts of the souls and how they all fit together, how some of the mythology seem to be kind of unusual, and a lot of that has to do with the upper and the lower Egypt aspects, and the combination of when they became one country, how those stories combined, and how certain deities were forced to take on extra duties per se. So with Osiris, one of the things is that his green skin signifies as the force behind germination and fertility, which is where he was before. He ruled over the flooding Nile and the budding crops. Now, when you need to have renewal, and you know, we all have had times of pure burnout, tiredness. Please, God, save me from exhaustion, because I am beyond exhausted. That's where Osiris comes in. He is the fertility. He brings in that fertile nature of your mind. He brings back renewal and hope, and you can bring him forth. His symbols are the crook and the 8 of crown, which this is the 8 of crown, by the way. There is a rite that is done inspired by an old funerary tradition involving sprinkling fast-growing alfalfa seeds in a bed of soil. These seeds, which quickly germinate and rise, are a symbol of the soul ascending and it's not for a soul rebirth, but it's for the renewal of hope. So you need some fast-growing seeds, some soil or a planter box, a green candle, and a moon water. You make moon water by leaving a bowl of water out for under the full moon for one night, and then placing it in a flask or jar for storage purposes. If you're me, you probably make it by leaving it out for a whole full moon cycle portion. So there's other ways you can do it, but that's usually I leave it for not just one night, but I leave it for like 3. You light the candle and you say, Osiris, you are Lord of the dead, but also Lord of rebirth. Strip from me what holds me back, and in this death, this void of hope, allow a new path to grow for me. Then sow the seeds in your hand. Think about all you need for your fresh start. Think about feeling vital, purposeful, healed, and whole. Feel the power of this positive feeling growing in your body, and then focus it in your hands. Transfer this power of hope and healing to the seeds in your hands. Now throw or plant the seeds in the planter box. As you do it, say, Mighty Osiris, grant complete fertility to these seeds. May they sprout, may they grow, may they reach their ripeness. Then may I harvest them for my greatest good. Now think of one step you will take towards the new life you have asked for. Do this within 24 hours if possible. When the seeds sprout, eat them if they are edible. They contain the power of the god. If they are not edible, simply enjoy them and know that Osiris's energy is actively granting you the new beginning. A lot of times when I will plant something that grows fast for something like this, whether it be like alfalfa sprouts or bean sprouts or something of that nature. If they're not edible, then what I will do, if they're not edible for me, but let's say they're edible for animals, I will go from there and I will plant them outside for the wild animals to enjoy. knowing that with this new hope, I am also providing for the world at large, and that renewal is also important. So Osiris is somebody definitely I've worked with before, somebody you need to work with. If you haven't ever worked with any of the Egyptian gods and goddesses, I do recommend working with him at least once. He will bring you hope when you figure you have none. He will also bring you a chance to renew yourself when you feel like all is lost. He will help you find new paths. So definitely give him a chance. So definitely a good piece of advice there. So we're going to go to our last one, the rose quartz. Rose quartz. And see who our goddess is. Ooh, Kali, the goddess of fear. She can be a little bit fear-mongering. Kali is definitely an unusual goddess. She is a Hindu goddess. Most people have, if you've ever seen Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, you probably remember Kali Ma. Not one of my favorite movies, but it's probably the one that most of us know about her. She screams, or you probably know about the Thuggis. People who murder in her name, leaving the scarf around their neck. So yeah. So her neck is ringed with skulls, and her skirt is made from the body parts of her enemies. Amulets swing from her body, making a whistling sound. Her hair flows wildly behind her, tinged with fire, and her skin is covered in gray ash. The drums beat, and her devotees chant, Kali, Kali, Kali. Scared, exactly. This is what this amazing goddess is all about, fear. She is fearsome, yet she has a powerful maternal aspect of protection. She invokes fear in many who do not understand her nature, but those who do understand it welcome her. It's this fierceness, this extreme force of nature that helps us overcome our fears, move forward, and cut through our obstacles, and slay our own personal demons. She helps us to deal with our fears and fear-based things that haunt us, such as jealousy, pride, and unhealthy anger, or unhealthy ability to think that we have to have certain things to be safe. Kali is the one that taught me that money alone does not make me safe. What makes me safe is me. Because money comes and goes. You could have all the money in the world and lose it the next day, and you will not be safe. You can be robbed and have no money and not be safe. What makes you safe is you. She frees our true selves. She frees us and kills us from the illusions of ego, kills the shadows that do not serve us any longer. She is the tough love for us all. She negotiates your transitions and the ones that you are hesitant to make, like having a difficult conversation with someone, breaking up, or even explaining to someone that you are going to follow your own path, which means no longer following that person. Remember, while most of Kali's hands contain a weapon, one does not. It shows a peaceful, placating gesture, a symbol of her true love for us. That is the biggest thing to remember when it comes to Kali. She is meant to be fierce. She is meant to be the one that helps you face your fears, because she is the invocation of fear in a lot of ways. Best way I could put it, if any of you watch scary movies, horror movies are Kali. Horror movies help you face your fears. Some scare you to bejesus and back. Some are kind of scary and help you release certain bits and pieces of things you didn't realize you were afraid of. That is Kali. Sometimes after a horror movie, you sit back and you go, whew, okay, that was crazy. I shouldn't have watched that movie. But you also realize afterwards that you have this lightness, this feeling of, I faced my fear. I'm still a little bit overwhelmed, but I did it. That is Kali. Kali is the one who does that and makes you be stronger for what you faced, for facing down those things, for standing up for yourself. I had for the longest time stopped watching horror movies for stupid reasons I can no longer remember. I really can't. I don't remember why I stopped watching them. I started back watching them based on recommendations from C. Robert Cargill and from Scott Derrickson and a couple of others, James Wan. And I started watching a few, and now I have like some seriously hooked on horror movie moments. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is probably one of my favorite horror movies, although it's not really horror as much as it's a psychological thriller aspect, although there are some moments that you're like, oh crap, with it. Is seriously one of my favorite movies. Sinister is bejesus scary, but yeah, no, it's just scary. But at the same time too, I faced a couple of fears that I have. It's like Misery by Stephen King. Misery, the book, is scarier than Misery the movie, but Misery the movie is scary enough for anybody who's ever written. As a writer, when I wrote books, and Misery first came out, I didn't want to read the book. I didn't want to see the movie because of I had heard about it, and I'm like, I don't need to know anything about any kind of rabid fan trying to hurt me. No. And a friend of mine kept saying, you need to see it because it really will bring home things. I said, no. I already have worst case scenario in my head. I don't need any help. And when I finally watched Misery the movie, I flip-doid. I was like, oh shit. It was bad. I mean, I had a very bad reaction to watching Misery. But it was bad because of the fact that it just totally made me want to step back from my readers a lot. But then I realized too is that I'm more aware of people who are like that in some ways, and I don't have to be as fearful because I have that self-awareness. And so that so in a way it did help. It helped me to realize that I'm not as stupid as I think I was at the time. And then there's other movies like the Conjuring series, which, oh my god, I love the Conjuring series. I just recently watched The Nun, and that flipped me out. I love the Conjuring. I watched A Quiet Place. Yeah. The Quiet Place was really differently. It's horror, but it's not horror, but it is amazingly well done. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. Kali is all of that. Kali brings your fear in front of your face, and she says, I will hold your hand while you face this fear. I will make this fear bigger and bolder while we deal with it. Because sometimes fear is a good thing. Sometimes your fear is really, truly irrational, and you need to know the difference. And she's good about that. She's your mom in that. She's Kali Ma. And I think that's the thing that most people don't realize. Now, I don't think she's ever going to be able to help me get over my fear of spiders. Yeah, I tried that with arachnophobia, and I flipped during arachnophobia. I was up in this chair I was like on top of my friends, sitting on the chair in the back of the theater. They were like, are you okay? No, I don't like this movie. I do not like this movie, not at all. game over. Uh, yeah, that was not a good movie. No. Mm-mm. No. No. I don't like spiders at all. So that's probably the only movie I can tell you that, although a lot of people don't like spiders and don't like snakes, for some of us who are extremophobes on certain aspects like spiders, that movie did not help. It did not help. I can laugh about it now. I can laugh about it, but yeah, no. Mm-mm. So there is an invocation to Kali Ma. It says that you need a black candle, if possible, a small amount of ash placed on a plate. You can make ash by burning some wood, fragrant sandalwood chips, charcoal, and resin, incense, a paper, and pen, a gift for Kali, such as a red stone, a red ribbon, or a stick of incense. Light the candle, saying, "Great Mother Kali, I call upon you to reduce and destroy my fears. You who kill demons, you who are fearless, bless me and protect me." Chant 3 times, Kali Ma, Jali Kali Ma. Now out loud describe your fears, what these fears cause you to do, and what is in your way. Use specific examples and be honest, even though it may be hard to talk about. Know that Kali listens and is responding. Say, "Kali, I want my life to be better, yet my fears hold me back. Some of them are big, some of them are hidden. You who are change itself, you who defeat the shadow in me, from now, show me how to move forward fearlessly. What do I do next to facilitate my change into being more fearless, great Kali?" With the pen and paper, write down any ideas or messages you may receive to act on later. Place your index finger in the ash and anoint your forehead with it in the third eye position between your eyebrows and say, "Kali, thank you for my blessing. I agree to participate and do my part. Thank you." Leave your gift on your altar or a dedicated space. And just so you know, the Om Kali Ma, Jai Kali Ma means I welcome you, great Mother Kali. So those who have Kali as their choice know that this is going to be a facing their fear, having somebody on their side to help them face their fear kind of moment. It's not going to be easy. Nope. It's never easy. But it will be something worthwhile. So definitely something to think about in the long run. So hopefully you enjoyed this reading. I know it's a little bit longer than normal, but it would be basically the length of 2 decks if I did them separately. So do I recommend these books? These 2 Oracle decks? Definitely. They are definitely at least a 9.5 to 10 out of 10. I wish there was a lot more diversity. I wish there was a little bit more Polynesians in there, some more Russians, a bit more of the Yoruban culture, Swahilis and stuff in here as well. But overall, it's a really great start for a deck. I would love to have seen some more Haitian and of the Haitian and the Voodoo, the Voodoo deities listed in here as well. Maybe if there's other further decks, then that will be the case. But definitely worthwhile. So until next time, Bendithium, and peace be with you.